We have all kinds of. Yep.
Oh, what's this one? A chili pepper? Oh no, it's a gourd.
It's a gourd,
Okay.
among other things. All right. Well, we've got Magpie Alchemy in the house. Um, I really appreciate you guys being here. It has been such like a cool journey, like alongside you guys. I mean, it's not like we have been like work entwined or anything like that, but we have all made a large journey within the time we've been friends.
Yeah.
At least one,
Yeah.
each,
For sure.
right? And I really appreciate being on parallel journeys with you guys because y'all are healers first and foremost. To me, in my perspective, y'all are first and foremost. That's just what you are, right? You don't, nothing has to be said, nothing has to be done. That there's a healing energy about you at all times, and I really appreciate that, especially as a dude in these times.
Yeah.
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 I
thank
really
you.
need that from y'all. I really do. And besides that, y'all, the products that you guys make, the love that goes into it, the technique, the skill, everything about it, everything about your process. I remember coming out to your house with Jen and doing shibori and meeting your family and just it's not just a product that comes from you. It is a bit of magic. It is a bit of magic, it is a bit of alchemy, it is a bit of culture, it is a bit of love, and it is a lot of knowledge,
Mm.
you know? So I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. It means so much for us to be here because we consider you and Jen our kapwa. Kapwa in Filipino psychology is the shared self. And even though you guys are of a different ethnicity, I feel like there's a lot of like culture keeping that you guys have, and it's just such an honor to like heal alongside you guys. And it's kind of like a full circle moment that I am here with my brother and my apprentice Liberty. We started our indigo journey actually with Jen. In 2020, we were all in lockdown, and Jen just like
She's right
I
here,
think
actually.
we went hiking with our homie Homer, who said it was a family level hike. And I learned in that moment that you do not trust people with zero body fat. And on the topic of hikes, so we went hiking, and then we went home and we started an indigo vat. We dyed Jen's duvet cover, and then we had Korean barbecue, which is fucking nuts because we did all of that in a day. Yeah, and now I'm at Baba's house gallery to show my work,
Yeah.
and it's pretty incredible. So.
As you can see behind us, it is a blank canvas, and we're waiting for Jamie to come put her works up behind us and fill our shop with a lot of love and color and magic. Um, I, I I talk about magic a lot because I already told you I wanted to bring up the whole alchemy thing, right? Mostly because I was a very curious kid, and when I was young, I really found a lot of value in pursuing like occult things, mainly because of the symbolism that was attached to all of that. And those symbols have kind of persisted into my current life. I've held on to all this very strong symbolism that I see is kind of akin to how people will interpret the Bible, right? It's on the same level, and these kind of symbols, they affect us in everyday life. They manifest from how we view them, how we hold them, and such. So I wanted to ask you and everybody here at the table, what are some powerful symbols that have been with you your whole life? And I don't just mean like, fire, like, you know what I mean? Like just something. It could be a base element. It could be anything. But there are symbols that follow us, and sometimes they change a little bit. But there are like ones that just really, they're just like seared into you. You know what I mean?
I guess I'll go first.
Sure.
I've always been drawn to leaves. I know so it's Taurus season. I'm an Earth sign. It's my birthday week,
Hey.
and I'm starting to like make this connection that my magic is really in the Earth, and I think what symbolizes that the best is the shape of a leaf, and I actually wear a leaf on me at all times. I've chosen the fern. The fern represents something that's really strong, but it's also really tender and dainty, and some even see it as fragile. But it holds both of those dualities of being both tough and tender, if you will. So that's a symbol
Oh, that's so
for
dope.
me that represents so much in the fern, in the any type of leaf. Really, I'm in love with.
Amazing. What about you, Liberty?
Sweet. I would say I grew up with roses a lot. I think my matriarchs in my family were their favorite flower were roses. My dad planted roses in the garden, and so I think for someone who is open about their healing journey, I like to think of it as a journey itself and not like a destination. And so I like to think of like me as a garden, and how like a lot of my tattoos are flower theme, and it's like this continuation of like I'm always tending to myself and to the garden, and that like it's always changing and always growing, and always ever evolving. So I always like to think of it, but roses are the ones that are probably like, yeah, or like tulips remind me of light cheese.
Oh, that's dope.
And it makes me it reminds me to be like playful too, and to eat, good. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, let's eat everything. I really love the symbolism of tending to the garden. It is so warm and gentle, and it brings a lot of life and flourish, right? How about you, babe? How about symbols?
Doesn't have to be organic, right? Yeah, I was thinking about. I'm glad I went last because it took me a while. Because originally I feel like, childhood-wise, like I was drawn to butterflies, but then I don't necessarily think symbolism-wise, like for me, it holds as much. Because I think before it would be like, oh, social butterfly, whatever. But I think now, I'm like, what would it be? I'm origami. Would that count?
Oh, cute. Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I was
What?
like, does it have to be organic?
What would you fold out of the origami?
Anything.
Oh.
That's why. Because you can shape anything,
Ooh,
right?
shapeshifter.
Yeah, you can be paper. I mean, origami sounds cool though.
Absolutely.
Just like be able to create, and that's like actually the first thing in my crafting abilities, besides like making little pop-up cards, was origami. Origami was the thing that like got me into crafting, and like what else can I make? And I think it's also like, it's still very symbolic to me of like being able to create something out of nothing or out of one thing. And so it's kind of like, that's how I've been maneuvering through any kind of projects. It's just like, how do I create? Yeah. So
Amazing.
origami.
That's alchemy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Ab says she was obsessed with folding little turtles. Dude, I
Oh,
folded
cute. Can you
everything.
fold me some turtles, Ampy?
I did everything, like hearts, double hearts, T-shirts, little baseball caps, like little origami balls, different shaped balls, 12 paper balls, 6 paper balls, wood balls,
Wow.
cranes. Yeah, all of them. I love origami. So, yeah.
Sweet.
Let's see. If you were to ask me, I think most of my symbolism always goes back to my emotions. I feel like that has been the main driving force and the main adversary as well in my life. Just emotions in general, all of
Yeah.
them, right? The symbol of the heart, so I first wanted to get this tattoo. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's just like a heart with wings, and it has dad on it, right? Originally, I wanted to do it as like just a sailor tattoo, right? A dagger, a heart, and my friend was like, no, let me draw something for you. We'll figure something out. And he finally drew this. funny you should say roses, Liberty, because roses are also my mom's favorite.
Oh.
And so, you know, with my mom, we also have it looks more like a real heart than it does like a sailor heart. But yeah, I had the heart with my mom as well. So my mom and dad are both hearts, right? But they look like human anatomical hearts. And then my mom has these roses around hers because it's her favorite flower, and blue is my dad's favorite color.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So a little bit of unity there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for me, I really have always been curious about alchemy. I read a lot about Aleister Crowley. I read about the Golden Dawn. I read about like a lot of the old Jewish practices and stuff like that. I've never read much about Asian heritage and how that has connected with alchemy. And I don't know if you have, or if you've studied any of that stuff. I mean, I kind of feel like maybe you have, because you're all about study. You know, you yourself are a very well learned and sort of tenured individual.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I actually am not well versed on Asian alchemy. I actually have a book in my witch's bag there that touches on a lot of cultures, alchemy and alchemical processes, and also as it relates to mental health, which, you know, basically the theme behind that is like, if you can transform your mind, you can transform your body,
Right.
And just stay connected to, you know, the ultimate process, which is the magic of your mind, body, and spirit.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I'm a nerd in that way. My middle name actually, I learned, translates to research. And then I actually recently discovered too, an old colleague of mine went to Spain, and I said to her, try to look for the town called Cardenas, which is my last name. And then in researching that, I'm like, oh shit, my middle name and last name literally translates to research blue.
That's
So kind of a fun factoid that ties into the theme of the show tonight too. So
yeah, that's so dope. Okay. But, you know, as I dove further and further into the occult world, I think what happened to me was it permanently pried my mind open.
yeah.
Right? And it led me to possibilities of the way that things work in this world that I never would have thought of before.
Yep.
And I never could have really accepted into my life, especially being somebody who is very earth-based, somebody who's very, like, physical-based. And I think that has really lent a lot to my life, making these large symbols, looking at things like, for example, I mean, just take your car, right? If you apply an element to it, right? If you apply earth, or even if you apply wind, fire, earth, water, whatever, right? It becomes something that you can not only I don't want to say control, but it's something that you can affect in your life in a different way, right? Sometimes we find ourselves in a position where things are immutable, right? Or at least we feel that way. But all it takes is a change of perspective, and you can make alchemy happen, as you were just saying, with the mind, with the spirit, and in this reality, we can make alchemy happen with just will, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that quantum physics?
Yeah, actually, there's a really incredible book. Oh gosh, it's drawing a blank, but Chen of Astrologic actually recommended it to us. I think it's called The Laws of Healing, and it has every culture's view of healing, and there's a connection between, like the, what's the word? Ooh, I'm not gonna fuck that word up, but it's basically a connection to like indigenous, like Native American healing arts,
Yeah.
and the like what a medicine woman is. A medicine woman would actually translate to like a singer, because they believe that the vibrations in singing and in your words will travel throughout realms, throughout time. So this idea that like symbolism and the power behind your thoughts and your emotions and your words, like that shit's real, you
Yeah.
know? Think about music. right?
Exactly.
Like that's a big connection between all four of us. Actually,
Yeah.
is our that's like a deep love language for us, and
Mhm.
you know, I think of how powerful music is. I can listen to a song and be transported to a moment I've had with Jen and Alan and Liberty, and it's fucking magic. So,
Literally.
yeah, that shit's real.
Period. Yeah. And so, as we dive deeper and deeper into the things that have affected our lives and the things that show up every day, these symbols become more and more obvious, right? The symbolism of them, the vibrations, right? Passing through different dimensions, being able to access different planes of existence, music, sound, all of that. And I know that it wasn't too long ago that there was a big like fad of vibration, people being aware of vibrations and manifesting and all that stuff in the algorithm, let's say. But I think that stuff, like I said, it's quantum physics. It's like whatever you put your focus on. So let me ask you guys, what do you feel like you've been putting the most focus on lately?
Ooh.
And that is going to be the symbolism of right now. Like you feel me? That's where we've journeyed to, because that's where our energy is. So we're being drawn there by ourselves.
Because in the spirit of Taurus season and my birthday, my focus has been solely on pleasure, rest, good food, orgasms, and laughter.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So, yes.
How about y'all?
I'm still thinking.
Damn. I feel like them too, though. You know, all of us.
All of us.
I feel like I was gonna say, because I'm a Scorpio and that's a sister sign of
Let's
Taurus, I second and back that of what my Taurus sis just said. But I don't know, for some reason I thought of the San Pablo Reservoir when you mentioned like where of the place that we're at. I guess symbolically, it goes back to centering rest, and just kind of like, yeah, I think rest really is it, and
Amazing.
connecting back to nature, right? I don't know. I think just getting that fresh air,
How about
touching
you?
the grass.
That's actually, I love to hear the word rest as many times as you'll say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think for a while I've been definitely focused on that and the self-care portion of it. Lately, more focus on building. Yeah, more focus on building and the party market and stuff like that. So I've been kind of more focused on work, but I would like to shift back to self-care soon. I think it's a give and take situation, right? Like there will be times where I'd be like la-di-da, great, like self-care is amazing, but then there are times where I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to rain check that for a month. So, but you know what? It's cool because next week we're gonna be going to Hawaii, so it's fine.
Hey.
Rest.
Yeah, you know, I will say it's been such a lovely thing to witness in both Jen and Alan. I met Jen actually at Undiscovered through Make It Marco. Shout out Gina.
Hey, let's go, Gina.
And you know, the events world is crazy, but like I've seen Jen really go through like rest hard, play hard, work hard, like, and that always inspires me to do the same, because I'm like, if Jen can do it, so can I.
It's breaking a little bit, but it's fine. It's fine.
I got a second that I feel like you have been an inspiration to a lot of people, me included, and I feel that because of our bond, that inspiration is such a divine thing, and I take it personally in the best way possible, right?
Yeah.
And it offers me a chance to grow from knowing you and from being in our relationship, right? That's one of the greatest things that a relationship can bring you, right? But that's just the truth, though, right? If you're in a relationship and you're not growing from the other person, I fear that you might get bored,
Yeah.
right? In your situation, and I also feel like if you're not growing from your relationship, then maybe you're really just doing your own thing, but you're like close to each other, that
Yeah.
type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's fine too, because everything comes in seasons.
Yeah, that
Right.
definitely happens. You gotta have a lull period from time to time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Everything is like a pendulum, and I find that a lot of people, myself included, get trapped in this sort of viewing things in a static way. Oh, I'm this, and that's forever.
Yeah.
Right? That's never changing. But that's a little too close to what the definition of perfection is. Something that cannot change, right? Even if it is perfect. How could perfect be anything else?
Yeah.
Because it is, right? So one thing yeah, nothing's perfect, or maybe everything put together is perfect.
True that.
Or
And
yeah,
dogs.
yeah, they're too good for us.
And pizza.
I really wanted to the whole Taurus thing is really pulling me because I'm a Taurus rising, and sometimes I feel like I wish I was a Taurus because that is how I feel, right? So a large part of the Taurus energy is sensuality, right?
Yep.
And I know that it's like whatever, you know, so sociopolitically, right? But we're family, and you know, sensuality is not taboo to me.
Yeah. I think it's so powerful to have conversations like this being Asian Americans, because I think even the word sensuality, there is a knee-jerk reaction from from all of our cultures.
Yeah.
But I think sensuality really means being able to explore your body and the senses of your body. So your touch, scent, smell, yeah, all those things. And it's not just about sex, you know.
I also feel like my relationship with sensuality has been like a very strong part of my life as well. It means to be sensual, like you can't be like fast. You have to slow down.
Yeah.
You have to really be in the moment, and you really have to appreciate every tiny little thing that's going on. And that's my perception. That's a large part of my perception of sensuality. Like you can't just like blow past stuff, right? It is a deep understanding and a deep appreciation of the moment,
Yeah.
right? And that's why a lot of it has been depicted in media as a slow-mo video capture, right? So, I mean, what do you guys have to say about that? Like, I'm trying to get you to talk about some of this stuff too, just because, you know, reciprocation is cool. But I love that part of my personality, and I find that I appreciate you more and more because you have that part of your personality. I don't have a lot of Tauruses in my life, and so I've noticed it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think everything that Magpie Alchemy does is an expression of my sensuality.
Let's go.
You know, my creative process, what I make, it's also an invitation for yourself and for others to engage in that way as well, whether it be through aromatherapy or touch, or my favorite answer, C, all of the above. Yeah. You know, and I think it's powerful medicine in our community, just with everything that we're holding, what we're walking through with it being, you know, pandemic, and yeah, just the lifestyle of like having to kind of blow through your senses and your emotions as well. So, you know, just like what Alan said, kind of slowing things down and really savoring the full spectrum of, you know, your body and your emotions.
Right. I bet. So I was going to ask you, and I kind of feel like I already know the answer, but I want to ask you and just see if I'm right. Like, how do you express your sensuality in what medium or format, or, you know, just in your daily life? It doesn't have to be like you and me, right? I'm not really trying to put you on that platform.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
I'm in thought now. I'm not sure. Because I don't think I ever really think about the sensuality side of me. Quite honestly. So on a day-to-day basis, I don't really know.
You want to hear what my answer was?
Sure.
So,
I'm like, I don't really.
you know, apart from the obvious stuff, I find sensuality in you in your music. And I feel like other
Absolutely.
people have as well.
And food.
Yes, and food.
Yeah.
More music, because I don't really mix the food with. But But like I remember, having, if we were having a kaleidoscope session, and the first time I heard you play a set was probably one of the most sensual things that I've ever experienced from you. And I'm sure all the homies, if they're listening at home, they would agree, because we all remember that set. And just your choice of track, your choice of flow, your choice of the whole set, right, speaks a lot, because you choose it deliberately. So you know exactly what they're saying, and that's what you want to say in that manner. And it was very sensual. And so I'm surprised you've never really thought about it that way, because I know you just do, right? But I'm the opposite, right? I think a lot. I'm like thinking about stuff all day long.
So I think it's interesting because I think you and I have similarities of like we think about things all day long, but it's like I don't think on the emotional side of things all day long. You think on the emotional side. I think on like the how can I? It's beyond getting stuff done. It's just like, what if we did this? It's always like, oh, what if I hit up this homie and we did this? That would be so cool. So it's just like constantly kind of like creating. Yeah, it's just creating, but it's not. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thank you for that. But yeah, I didn't think about the music part. But yeah, I mean, I always do love anything that has a soul that makes me feel something. That's always something about music for me. But yeah, I think since being like the sensuality part of things is hard for me to kind of articulate because it's not within our upbringing or like talked about or having conversations. And we've had conversations because like our upbringing is different too, right? Like my mom and dad argued all the time. My grandparents argued all the time. There was no I love yous, no hugs, no kisses, no anything. So like love and affection is a weird thing for me. So that's why it's kind of like, oh, I don't know. I never thought about sensuality or sexuality because it's just not talked about or like it's not shown in front of me as a child. So as an adult, it's kind of, it's a weird thing. Yeah.
Can I add?
Please, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like talking about sensuality, it was Magpie's products that actually really got me into being in tune with my body. So like it was like October 2020 and like I just was not in my body. I was just heavily dissociating. And I reached out to Jamie because I used one of her muscle rubs and I was like, yo, like this is nostalgic because it reminds me of like Tiger Balm, but also like I'm able to sit with myself and be in tension of where I apply this product, how I feel about it, what the scent brings to me. And so like adding on to what y'all were talking about, how like being intentional or like savoring the present moment, and I felt like Magpie's products and being able and Magpie, not only Magpie products but behind the scenes of creating it is very healing in terms of connecting back to the body and the shame that I had growing up. Growing up as a Catholic schoolgirl or Filipino Catholic schoolgirl from the Bay, like I felt like there was a lot of like guilt already with the body, and then the whole thing of like for the man type of dealio. And so like so having these products or a space even to just explore your body without shame, and like your sexuality too even, and like being like, yo, like it's nice to slow down. It's nice to know who I am and like what, like how I feel, because it's super important to know what makes you feel good and what doesn't. You know, again, that sense of safety within you. I feel like I'm on a tangent at this point.
I mean, I totally understand what you're saying too, because it's also like I think I find myself compartmentalizing it.
Right.
Just like if I'm on the go, I don't like this is what I'm doing. You know, so that part of it is never. That's kind of like more on the back burner side of things.
Right.
So like, but if we do, you know, spend the time to slow down, yeah, all of those senses kind of start connecting. But when I get into this tangent of like work mode, it feels like I'm like, okay, all all of those senses are not really there. It's like a little bit more numb. Right. So it's interesting because trying to figure that out is new to me too. I'm like, how do I find that balance back again? So it's a constant.
Yeah. I just have to add, I think that's what's so powerful about like our friendship between the four of us is that, we don't have that modeling in our culture, in our own families of what intimacy and affection and love looks like. And it's really powerful to see, us naturally have these conversations and bring it up where, it's important for us to talk about this stuff so that we can also share with community and model it for other people. This idea that like we should be balanced enough to go right into something like meditation. For people who are neurodivergent or have had long history of just being laborers and working bodies, being still like that can almost feel like a threat. So the body will start to freak out, the mind will start to freak out. So by slowly integrating small ways of like rest or slowing down, or even just like being able to like sit with someone closely, like as Asians, like it's weird. And the more and more that we can like have spaces like this, have circles like this, like that shit's powerful.
I would like to mix that up a little bit because my mother was always very, very affectionate with me until I became a man, right? So I feel looking at the dynamics in Asian households for Asian females, it makes sense to me that no one would be affectionate with you, right? If your mom is a, like classic Asian mom, they're just not going to be affectionate off the bat. And then it may be awkward for a father, an Asian father specifically, right? So there may be less opportunity culturally for that to happen. And I think it's a little bit easier. I shouldn't say easy, but it makes a little bit more sense that my mom, right, and her only son, especially since she was alone after I was 9, she would just pour her love into me. So I mean, like the all of that, the closeness and the affectionateness, that was all there until I became an adult, and then it was gone. And then it became the normal Asian thing.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, well, you want to add to that? Yeah.
Oh, I mean, not to your dynamics, but like I think for am I losing the train of thought? Did I lose it?
It's okay. It'll come back.
It went. Oh, it's.
Oh, it happens to you all the time.
Oh my God, moms.
Yeah. Go back to it.
I'm trying to think of it now. Until as I ground, I was like, oh no, it's
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it's gone.
That's okay.
Got it.
It's okay.
Oh, I was gonna talk about the dualities of just like gender roles. Of gender roles being placed on you as
Yes.
like female in the family, right? Like, so my mom would always be like, oh, you gotta do dishes or else you're not gonna find a man.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't think she ever really talks about cooking because she doesn't cook. But she's like, you gotta do dishes or else no one's gonna marry you. I'm like, well, first off, I don't want to marry the dude that wants me to wash dishes at all times, and also these are my brother's dishes. You go tell him. No, she's like, well, he can marry. I'm like, okay, no, mom. This is how it works.
Yeah.
But it's growing up. It's like you cannot. You know, again, like being a woman, a child of immigrant too. Like, oh, you gotta keep your head down, stay out of trouble, don't speak up, and then sexuality is definitely a taboo. Don't date, don't do this, don't do da 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 da, and it's never talked about. And then it's just like, and then also on the flip side of not seeing love exerted within the family dynamics, just like made it even more kind of like a taboo or not prioritized or needed in life per se, because it was just not any discussion. So it's just kind of, for me, I'm still trying to figure that part, like, I never thought about that. It just never comes to my mind because it never existed.
Until now.
Right.
Now there's a lot of it. You know, a lot of this stuff that we're talking about makes me think about a walk that I took with a bunch of my friends, and it was a mushroom walk. We rented a B&B out in the forest, and we purposefully dosed ourselves with a couple grams of mushrooms, all the same, and we took a walk. And during this walk, D-Hop actually, D-Hop told me while we were mixing it up, right? We were taking a break. He's like, you know what, bro? You're the type of person that needs permission. And it hit me so hard in that moment. Now, like we talked about earlier, there are different seasons of life. And I think at that time it was completely accurate. And it really hit me hard. And I feel like giving yourself permission, right, is parallel with finding magic in your life, right? Being an alchemist means you're a creator, right? And having that spark within you, the spark of creation, right? And let's not get it twisted. It is parallel to how we feel about God. It is parallel how we feel about just our presence in this world, because we're made in their image and whatnot, as it said. But I think that when we can get to a point in our lives where we allow ourselves the space to create and not shame ourselves or judge ourselves or say like, you're not allowed to create, that's hubris. You're not, like, who are you? You think you're God, right? But it's not that to me. Once you get to a place, because we're humans, right? We do create.
Yeah.
Right? Once you get to that place, you can simultaneously unlock all of these things, sensuality in your life, right? That's akin to creation, right? And it does create people.
It is the ultimate creation.
Yeah, exactly. It creates people. But does that resonate with you guys? Like,
yeah, absolutely. You know, as a maker and someone who understands like whatever I put my mind to, I can make. I play that out a lot in the kitchen and in my lab, because it's a very, you know, that's the magic of like being a maker, is you can think of something and then poof, it's there, you know. And I think as makers, we also need like that permission, that reminder. So like an affirmation that I learned from one of my spiritual guides, one of my teachers, Jenna Lynn, is to call your power back to you, so that you remember, you know, this idea of like anxiety or like absorbing other people's energy. Even just saying those words. So sometimes when I feel like my spirit is being tested, or I'm letting that inner saboteur, that like person that wants to sabotage everything in my life,
Yeah.
I'll say it out loud. I call my power back to me. And it sounds and feels really weird to say that, but I think it's so important as creatives that we stay connected to that.
that's so amazing.
Yep.
I so resonate with that, because a lot of magic in our lives, a lot of magic that, and I'm talking about like stuff that actually has, I don't want to say like, it's not scientific studies, but people have experimented with these things. And there's actually a process to casting a spell. There's actually, you know, a lot of deliberate focus that goes in, and there's what's the word I'm looking for?
Protocols?
There's a process. Sorry?
Protocols?
Yeah, there are protocols.
Yeah.
Exactly. There are protocols. And when you do that, you invoke something, right? Traditions, things like that have so much power because of the repetition, because of what it means to us, because we've created this framework and thus created our own universe within that framework, right? For things to happen. So again, creation, right? Empowerment. And when you talk about saying like, oh, well, when the negative things come forward, I call my power back, which is also simultaneously putting that negative thing right in front of your face, and you have to face it by calling it up and acknowledging it. So, I mean, I know all four of us have been doing a lot of that this year and last year. We've been doing a lot of that, calling things up, looking at them for what they really are, and saying, okay, now that I see you, I can start at an equal level with you. But if I don't look at you with my own eyes, you hold such a potentially larger power over me, like a deep looming shadow.
Yeah.
So that's really beautiful. Do you guys have do you guys have a way of calling your power back? Do you do a similar thing? Or is there a ritual that you do that makes you feel strong in the moment when you're weak? Because I remember asking BB from Damn Events on our podcast, and she said, you know what? I literally just like go into another room, or I go to the bathroom, I go somewhere where I could be by myself, and I take 3 deep breaths. That's her tradition of bringing her power back, right? And so those things I'm looking to ask you guys what you do, because I need more of that in my life.
Yeah. So I will try to connect to my breath, because that's the first thing I notice will be affected when I am stressed or sad or not feeling right. And then I'll kind of use it as a visual to like move it out. So I'll take a few deep breaths, and then I'll like empty my stomach. And then another powerful thing for me is using my aromatherapy. So a lot of people think aromatherapy is a very like frilly or like luxurious type of like modality. But if you think about aromatherapy, scent is a very powerful tool. It's very personal. And sometimes when I feel disconnected to my body and I'm disassociating or just wanting to like time travel with my mind and go other places, I'll smell like my breath bomb, for example, put it on, and then it's a whole ritual of scent, it's touch, it's going back to my breath, and then then I feel grounded again. So
Amazing.
I think for me, definitely cleansing breaths as well. I think something recently that I've done, for some reason, I've been having a hard time just communicating my emotions or feeling free through them. And I've just been making playlists, like whether it's personal or something I want to share with a friend, but like whatever song, like reflecting on what I did as a kid, like coping, I used to love listening to music that really resonated with me at the time. And so I think I revisited again recently of songs that really resonate and sitting with it and then journaling about it and letting go or doing the action I need to take care of, like reaching out to a friend or whatever I need to do. But yeah, cleansing breaths for sure. Or even just like taking a shower and being like, hey, I'm just cleansing off whatever energy that does no longer serve me, is not for me, is not, and just just through the shower. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely breaths. I mean, I have a tattoo that says breathe and let go to remind me to kind of pause and take a deep breath, because sometimes I'm just moving too fast for my own good. But yeah, I think mainly that, and then just like really just kind of snapping out of it. Sometimes I'll just like, why am I going? Why is there urgency tied to everything? Like, just calm the fuck down. Basically, just literally the self calm down. Like, you're doing it again. You know, like you don't need to get it done in 10 minutes. You can do it in 5 hours. You know, so I think it's the self-talk for me, because it's easy for me to get in a mode of just like go. And so like being able to identify it and being able to, it's not, I don't say it as verbally, which I think there is a really strong power to it, especially if you're doing affirmations and everything. And affirmations too, like if I'm able to like kind of spend some time and just like read a few, it does change a lot, even though it might not be an instant shift, but over time you can kind of feel like, okay, yeah, I do feel what I say from the affirmations.
yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you guys. I noticed that all of the actual physical things that were attached to all of the things that we do to let go or reframe ourselves or get our power back are very simple. But the mind framework behind it is very powerful, right? Accessing those symbols that we were talking about earlier. And that's kind of what I've been trying to get at and kind of formulate in my mind and say out loud in words, is that those symbols are so incredibly powerful in our lives. and they empower everything that we do. You know, being a musician, I've been told about 1.5 million times to not just like be sitting there waiting for the bus to show up when I'm playing music. Every moment of what you're doing must be alive. It must have intention. It must be deliberate.
Yeah.
And I think if we can live our lives this way, we will truly find who we are. We will truly find our stride. We'll truly be able to magnify that dopeness that's inherent in your mind, whatever that is, right? You can live that if you take everything and you add that symbolism to it. It's so powerful, and y'all have really proven that with your words and your actions, right? So thank you for that. Actually, do you guys have any questions for me? I don't want to just keep like making it one-sided. If I have evoked anything within you, if you want to know anything about me, I always offer a part of what we're doing here for you to just dive into whatever you want.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because in my journey also to like unpack this urgency, I started researching some of the greats, and I started researching the Soulquarians and all those who contributed to, I'm drawing a blank. D'Angelo's second album. What is it? Shit. Voodoo. That when I start to feel frustrated, I will look to them, because Voodoo actually took 3 years to make. But he purposefully slowed everything down because, like you said, as musicians, everything needs to have intention. And my goal now, it's almost like a prayer, it's an affirmation. I say this: my goal, all I want to do is make music with my friends. And to me, there's like an intimacy and like relationship building. So do you have advice for me as a person who, music, that's like a metaphor. I want to make literal music with you guys.
Yeah.
And also like, I just want to make magic like Voodoo with the people that I love. So as a musician, do you have advice?
I do. So I can only relate it to how I do it, right? So when I make music, I often find the heart of it first. And by that, I mean, I use my heart to create something. I attach it to something. Again, symbolism. It's usually through symbolism that I find clarity in my music. So let me give you a direct example. And I've done this before on stream. So if I sing do 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 do, right? It takes a while, right? And I'm giving these hand motions and everything, so kind of like, but to me, that is, you can imagine quite easily a little sailboat on the water going up and down on the waves, right? So this is some kind of symbolism that's been built into me that I've developed through my learning, through my teaching, through my experimentation and all that stuff. So when you find something that you want to write about, or even if you don't have anything to begin with in your mind, you just come with a clean slate, if that's how you want to do it. I let myself sit, and where the emotions go, I go towards that. And then through that, I start experimenting. I start making sounds through the computer or with my mouth or my instrument or whatever's around me. And whatever resonates with me, I start to extrapolate on that. Right? So if we were to do it right now, like on a very shallow level, right? I could be like, I'm really, like, the sensuality part really hit me, but right now I'm feeling a lot of friendship and I'm really celebrating in that. So then I would think, what would be my symbolism? What would be the symbolism that I attribute to friendship? Now here's where all the study and all of your incredible mind will benefit you, because you can make a lot of connections to a lot of things because you're so learned, right? And you've made these connections with symbolism. So what's a happy sound?
Cowbell.
Yeah, I mean, we always need more cowbell, right? more cowbell. But that's not a sad sound. You could start from there, right? Claps, the sound of children laughing. Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. And so if that gives you joy, then you can go from there, and that'll be the basis of it. And then once you have one symbol, you can make 1,000 more that are attached to that symbol, and that'll serve you every time.
Dope.
Yeah. Does anybody else have anything else that has evoked within them from talking about all these things? Liberty?
I just feel grateful for the three of you all. I'm like, oh my god. I think I just want to say it's super important for us what we're talking about again, and just like affirming us that like it's really dope to share space with y'all, and to like, I mean, even just I always talk about just Baba's house in general, like, and your intentions behind it. I love that y'all are really intentional what y'all do, and like it means a whole lot to be featured here and to share space. And yeah, again, like being able to talk about sensuality on stream and like be really chill about it, and like recognize that like we weren't taught these things, and that we want to create that space for us to talk about it because it's important. Sorry, yeah, I just want to affirm y'all again. Love y'all.
I love it. No, I love that.
Love y'all too. Yeah, it's I've been an artist for a long time. I didn't really make the jump to do like shows and all that stuff just because I don't know. I guess it, in the words of the great late Miles Davis, man, it takes a long time to sound like yourself.
Oh, that's so good.
And to be able to do it with y'all in a space like this, there's something really magical that's happening in Northern California in the AAPI community. Shout out AAPI month.
Yeah.
That like we're starting to heal from intergenerational trauma, and we have to like build new worlds together, and I feel very strongly that Baba's House is doing that. It's modeling that for our community of a place that is for the culture. Do you know how fucking dope it is that I can go to an Asian snack shop and like live out my wildest dreams as a creative? I did my first stand up here in the like depths of my grief. I lost my best friend in the end of 2021, and as like a bucket list thing, I did my first stand up, and it was here in these walls. So yeah.
That's amazing.
I was gonna say something and I lost it again after that.
That's okay.
I lost it. I was gonna say, yeah, intergenerational trauma. Jesus Christ. I was helping event coordinate at Ben Kyoto's screening yesterday. Ben Kyoto is the last manju shop in Japantown that closed recently, and it was family owned and ran for over 100 years. It was a beautiful documentary. Short. It's like 15 minutes. Shout out Aaron for producing it and bringing me on the team. But it was so cool because the panel had Rick and Bobby. Of course, they're Rick and Bobby, by the way. They're brothers. They're Rick and Bobby. They basically took it over from their family and then ran it. And they wake up at 3 a.m., do like 14-hour days. And when they were talking about, because they decide to close because their kids don't want to take it on, and they're moving forward. Like, okay, let's just shut down. We're old now. Like, it's time to retire. And when asked, like, were you kind of disappointed that it's not it's closed and it's not a family building that legacy or just revolving around legacies. And he's like, I am so proud of my kids. They've built a life for themselves. I would never ask them to do that. Like, if they don't want to do it, like, I get it. 3 a.m., wake up, make mochis. It's not a glorious job. And like, he's like, I'm just very proud of them for what they've done. And they don't have to carry this. Because, like, that's a hard thing to ask. I'm like, that's beautiful to hear that from parents and everything like that. Because it is tough. It's like, our parents built this to sustain us. And in their minds, like, we built this business so you can sustain. So you can keep sustaining this business. But in this new generation and era, like, it might not even make sense. So, and it's okay to let it go and build something new. So it was really, really beautiful to hear that from the panel and like all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah, that's really healing. This idea that like you don't have a choice, and to have that agency given back to you, especially from Asian parents. Yeah, that's amazing.
That's big. It seems so. It seems like the movie trope for the Asian family to be like, oh, well, you're going to take on the business, or like, I think it spans across all races. Honestly, a lot of things do, but specifically this, it's like now that I'm of this age, I've lived enough life to see the true value in something like that, and the true value in family, because family, at the end, you're kind of by yourself, unless you have family, and family is that true bond, that true. It is like, as we grow older, we know we don't need as many friends. We want quality people around us, but family is literally something telling you you will never be alone. And you have these people, they are your tribe, right? Truly, through blood and experience and time and an unbreakable bond. So I think that, it's hard. I think it would be really difficult for me to like grow a huge business or grow any kind of business that I've sustained my life and supported the rest of my family and taken so much pride in, and then just be like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
This is our legacy. But you know what? It's so enlightened to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So unselfish. So it's truly dope for somebody to be able to do that, because it's hard to really understand that magnitude of like what that really is,
Yeah.
especially for children who have not lived that long. But yeah, so I feel maybe this is a good place to maybe end, bring it to a wrap.
Yeah, let's get some food. I do have to do a couple shout outs because
I was just about to ask you.
these particular organizations are doing incredible work for the community. I have to shout out Verma and Harvey of San Francisco with Buong Loob. It's a Filipinx youth wellness internship that is specifically geared towards decolonizing and the Filipino identity. We had the privilege of hearing these teenagers speak and provide mental health toolkits to adults. And the biggest theme was, please listen to me, please be nice to me. Even affirmations, like one of them that was so powerful, to care is to not compare.
Yes.
So, it's so powerful. Like I just turned 39. Some of the things that I'm processing now, I've done in the last, over the last 10, 15 years. These are teenagers, sophomores in high school, that are able to articulate their emotions and talk about the shadow work that needs to take place for like real healing.
Wow.
So if you can please support this organization anyway, if there's other ways that you can tap in, please support their work. This is incredible healing work. And then also Dr. Robin Rodriguez and Joshua of the Reimagination Farm. They're a Filipinx and Hmong farm that is trying to create a beautiful place for community to heal, to learn, and to slow down. And I just really stand by these organizations. So.
Also, please, I was gonna say, please shout out anything that you guys are doing, and things that are coming up. Please let us know.
We have. We're going to be at Ginhawa Marketplace in San Francisco on the 21st. That's in the Mission. Really incredible Filipinx makers and healers. So if you need medicine, that's a great place to go, including the medicine that we make. We'll also be at Baba's House Block Party on the 28th, along with incredible folks in the community. It's going to be really beautiful. What else do we have?
Tonight?
Oh, yeah, the gallery. Tonight, from 6 to 11, it's my traveling show called Earth Prayers, which is planting seeds for future ancestors. It's basically my love letter to community, exploring fiber arts and natural dye, and my connection to all things earth related. And it's kind of like a prayer and a reminder to remember the cloth that we're cut from. Indigo is something that lives in so many of our cultures, and it's also a beautiful practice of slowing down, connecting with the earth, seeing its medicine and its beauty. And yeah, it's gonna be a dope show. So
Yo, I mean, if you guys are a part of it, it's definitely going to be a dope show. Let's see. Liberty, do you have anything? Yeah, we good? Okay, we in it together. So again, I really appreciate you guys coming on the show. You know, I appreciate your energy, and I always, eternally appreciate your acceptance and your love and your gentleness and your sensuality. Let's go.
thanks. Let's fucking
Normalize Asian sensuality.
Right.
Put it in the
Thank you.
media. Thank you, Simu Liu,
Right.
for bringing
Oh,
out
and
the
can I-
sensuality in my girl.
Speaking of sensuality, can I make a request, Baba's house? Can we please have a Wong Kar Wai viewing party and go through the catalog, starting with "In the Mood for Love"?
Ooh,
Speaking of sensuality,
done and done.
and you have to dress up.
I love that you have to dress up.
Oh, I would like. Okay, I will cook the most sensuous meal. You have to come dressed so that I can take film photos.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do gin.
Let's go.
So things are happening.
You heard it here first.
And you'll hear more about what me and Jen are up to.
Yeah, things are happening.
Things are happening.
Amazing. All right. So we are going to move on. Appreciate you guys. Normally I raid, but I'm not going to raid. All right. Have a blessed day, y'all.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.